exploring the Titleist Performance Institute, and there's a lot of different rooms. This one's an interesting one. It is a 3D motion capture studio.
It's a great studio. It allows us to evaluate a golfer, see their results using TrackMan to monitor ball flight, but also use sensors to see how their body works, and then analyze, do they have an efficient kinematic sequence? Are they producing the results they need, and can their body hold up and last through a full round of golf?
So it's really not as much as the club fitting, which is part of it, but also the body fitting, seeing what motions they've got going on. Are they tilting? Are they swaying? Are they really loading up on the one side to get through? I'm sure you guys see a lot of interesting swings going on in this room.
Well, there's no one perfect way to swing,
right,
and we are looking for just how to get better. So you've got to address equipment, you've got to address technique, you've got to address your body, and this room is really the culmination of those three things.
And is there also like a foot mapping that goes on? Do you see where pressure is throughout the swing?
We do measure center of pressure, and that can be a signal as how efficiently the person swings and how well they move. Combine that with the screening data about their mobility and stability, and you have a complete picture of their physical performance.
And I don't know if you guys could see it on camera, but we are facing downrange, so they are hitting live balls, actually seeing the ball flight, and then with the tweaks that you can make in the person's swing to see how efficiently they get through the ball, they can see the results right away. You
can, and it's important. We play golf outdoors. You make adjustments to ball flight, so it's best to hit. When you can see the ball flight, you make your adjustments. It's more close to your on-course performance.
And behind us, the big screen, we can kind of maybe see in the camera some of the demos going on, but you can see the tour golfers and really compare, the average everyday golfer to what you're seeing out on tour.
We do, and you see the patterns that emerge, the way a golfer swings, why they swing the way they do, why the ball flight results are the way they are, and it gives them that complete picture of how their body works.
So that is the 3D mapping room here at the Titleist Performance Institute. You can probably see it in my hand, a Titleist Voki SM6 wedge, and we're at the wedge testing tee. We've got all sorts of targets out there. Tell me about it.
Well, the wedge tee is where you do the long game part of wedge testing. So we start with the player's 9-iron, evaluate distance, and then work through a proper loft progression. We use TrackMan to measure ball flight. We've got targets from 50 to 140 yards that we can vary. So when the player's working on their wedges, they see actual green stopping ability and dial in distances for even gaps through their set.
Now you said starting at the 9-iron, how often do you see, you guys fit everybody from the pros to the amateurs, the guys that are on tour to the guys playing, just for $5 on the weekend. How often do you see players go from a traditional 9 or pitching wedge to actually more of the SM6 style?
I think a lot of people, it varies how they use their pitching wedge. So if they use it quite frequently for pitching and partial shots, they might tend more towards the Voki wedge. If it's all full swing and full fairway shots, they tend to be with the set wedge. But we offer loft in the wedges every 2 degrees so that when they do make that transition to Voki wedges, no matter where it is, it can be seamless and the yardage gaps are even.
Yeah, plenty of options, plenty of bounces and grinds. But really here, not that much talking about the bounce and grind because, like you said, we're looking at the longer, the 46, the 48 degree, 50 degree wedges, seeing what they could do to get the ball up in the air and get it to stop quickly.
Exactly. So we're talking gap wedges. There's more full sole or F grind wedges. We do start to work into the M and S grind here with partial shots, but our next area at the wedge green is where we really work the grinds for those partial shots, the touch shots, the feel shots, different conditions to make sure you can score with your wedges.
Putting wedges in the bag, you really have to find out how to use them around the green. They're the clubs that really can save a round, even create a round, create a good score, keep you out of trouble. I don't hit a lot of greens, and there's a lot of tour players that don't hit as many greens as they should, but their wedge game is what saved them. And what they know about their wedges is how to use them in a variety of different lies and environments, and that's what we have here at the Titleist Short Game Center.
Yeah, that really gives us the opportunity to examine every part of wedge game, whether it be bunker play, fairway shots from greenside, fairway shots from 50 yards, out of the rough, different slopes, and really recreate that environment with the intent of finding the right bounce, the right grind that meshes with your technique and provides you the ultimate in scoring opportunity. So you can save par, make more birdies.
And, looking here, we've got this big green behind us. We have a bunker over here. We can start there. People find their way into a bunker. and they can find exactly which SM6 or which Voki wedge is going to help them get to multiple different pin locations, whether they're short-sided or have a longer approach.
Yeah, that's a good point, because you need your wedges to work in all situations. So we've got some short-sided shots close to the green, get the ball up in the air quickly. The longer bunker shots up to 30, 40 yards, you still need to score regardless of that situation. And that's a good place to start with grind selection.
And you mentioned it, fairways are long, rough. Behind us, there is a lot of fairway out there, so players could drop back probably, 50, 75, 80 yards back there. And then there's also rough over here that looks like it's been grown in, so they have to practice the longer shots from a tight lie and, from the fluffy ones.
That's exactly it. So in a fitting opportunity, we want to hit those different shots. We need a wedge to perform in all circumstances. And also from a testing standpoint, when we're evaluating new units, new groove profiles, we want to be able to test them in all these different environments to make sure they perform at their utmost capability.
Let's take a little walk, because like I said, it's a vast facility here. A lot of different lies and grasses. We have the regular bunker over there. It looks like over here we have a good old-fashioned grass bunker, and you can get guys that have the downhill lie, the uphill lie, or being all the way at the bottom and have to try to hit that, super high flop shot to get the ball close.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you also learn a player's technique and how they hit those different shots, because their technique has to match with the grind and the bounce that you choose. Mm-hmm. So if you have a player that's more aggressive downward, you're going to tend towards more bounce. If they're more slider, sweeper, gentle, that sort of thing, generally going to have less bounce. And so we tailor the bounce and grind to the conditions and the way the player swings and come up with a really great performing wedge.
And the conditions as well, you might be able to pick it up on camera. The grass is different in certain areas as well. You have more of a Bermuda grass here, and then more of an overseed grass that we can see that's grown up a little bit. And players play all over the country, tour players, when they come here. They need to test the different conditions that they're going to see on tour. This has to help.
It does, and so we have Bermuda as the base. We have bent grasses. We need to maintain them at that level of quality so that players, regardless of where they play at home, feel like when we examine their wedges, they're confident that these will perform at home in the same manner that they perform today. So we get the specs right. They know it's going to work at home.
This facility, right here, anybody out there who wants a short game facility, this is what you dream about, that you want in your backyard or at your club. You and I were just saying we could spend hours out here just having fun, hitting a variety of shots.
Yeah, this would be a dream short game area for a golfer, and we've got one other that's even a little more severe to test your skills.
I can't wait to see it. As promised, something a little more difficult. I'm standing in a bunker that I can barely see out of. It's pretty deep, and there's multiple pins over here to test some wedge shots. Why'd you stick me down here?
Yeah, we've upped the ante, haven't we?
We really have.
So we call this the skills green because it offers the player a variety of pretty severe situations. From the pot bunker we're in, we've got another bunker that's deeper. We've got sloping areas around the green from the rough and the fairway. And you notice the green is set up with pretty severe contours, and the flags are generally at the peaks. So if you want to find out what your short game stacks up like, this is the place to do it, because we examine every shot, and it's pretty harsh test.
I am certainly enjoying the day here. This is not exactly where I want to be, especially this close to the wall here, because I would need something I'm really going to have to open the face up and throw it straight up in the air. With my caliber, there's a chance that ball's coming right back at me. But a tour player, that's a shot that they definitely practice, especially probably going overseas for the British Open.
Yeah, it's a shot that you might not use often, but you need it in your arsenal. So this allows us, to examine different clubs, see what bounces work in these more extreme circumstances. And it's a great facility for us to test any new and different ideas and learn how products perform in not just the standard environment, but the more extreme shot.
Well, it's definitely more extreme, and it's kind of making me extremely uncomfortable being all the way down in here. Over here, like you say, there's some shaved banks, there's a lot of different slopes, because not only are they going to have a wedge, again, we keep touching on it, not only are they going to have a wedge that they have to hit this shot, but they've got to be able to hit the shot from over there too.
Yeah, these shots are set up so that, for instance, if you're hitting a flop shot and you get it a little bit fat, the green is firm enough and fast enough that you see a difference between a properly executed shot with the right club and a club that doesn't work right for you, or that wasn't executed properly. So by taking the level of difficulty up, and the line between success and failure becomes really sharp, you get to explore what performs best.
Well, once again, another really fun area to test here at the Titleist Performance Institute. I'm going to get out of this bunker, though. even the best fit equipment out there does need to go through a certain amount of customizations at times. We're standing in front of a wedge grinder, so there are people, even though Titleist has a lot of grinds on their wedges, there are some modifications that tour players will need depending on where they're going to go play.
Yeah, we wanted to set up a workshop here at the Titleist Performance Institute that can replicate the work we do either on our tour trucks or in our factory. So if a player needs a quick adjustment, a regrip, a tweak to bounce, grind, something special, we have the capability here to do it in a way that's consistent with the quality that they received when they first got the club.
It's like the tour fan without wheels. Around the corner over here, we have the big bin of all the different grips that are out there. We've got some shafts here, and then the big workbench as well. So any modification that really needs to be done can be done on the fly, just like out on tour.
And that's what we want, just like the player would receive anywhere, so that no matter where you receive your Titleist club, that tour player knows it's made to the same standards, the same quality, the same precision.
On the south tee and behind us, there's a couple of fittings going on for 917 metalwoods.
Yeah, so the south tee is the area we do most of our long game fitting, so driver, fairway, hybrid, irons. And it really set up nicely for this because it replicates the visual, the look and feel you get with it on a tee. You see fairway, you see bunkers, you see trees left and right. It really presents the same challenge as a golf course. And our fitters use a wide selection of shafts. They use our SureFit technology of interchangeable heads and shafts to really make sure that the specs are right. And the process all begins with an interview to learn about the golfer, find out what they do well, what they don't do well, do a little triage on their golf bag and their clubs and see what's working. That's the starting point.
And like you said, out there on the range, it's not just open range. You're trying to really mimic that feeling of being on the tee box and having to hit that fairway when you need to. There's bunkers out there. For me, I wouldn't be happy with you for putting bunkers out there because I'd be probably ending up there. But that's what you have to go through when going through a full fitting. You have to get the uncomfortableness out of the way.
Mm-hmm. And the visuals of I'm going to start a drive on a certain line and let it turn a certain way, or start it at the edge of a bunker and draw it off. That's what we can set up here.
Okay, so we've made our way to the South Tee through the entire Titleist Performance Institute. And the big question is now, what is the biggest performance gain that people get from fitting?
Well, really, it's that overall process. You want to get better. And how do you get better? You get the right equipment, you get your technique, you get your body right. But we want to find this moment of truth, the time when a golfer gets on the tee with a skilled fitter, with high performance equipment and all the tools and techniques to get what's in your bag optimized or replace it. So it's really that moment of truth. When those things come together, we can help golfers get better, help them lower their scores, and that's really the goal of a club fitting.
And really, get that club tuned in so that it earns a spot in the bag, not just replaces one, but earns the spot in the bag.
There's 14 battles going on. We want to make sure every club functions as it should, doesn't overlap another, and works in many different environments and many conditions. So if the fitter does their job, they have the right tools, they have the methods, they have everything they need to get what's right in the golfer and help them play better.
Well, thank you very much for taking us on the tour of the Fitting Institute here. Really a pleasure, and I'm glad you didn't leave me in that bunker.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. We welcome anyone to come here. If you're a golf fan, this is the center of the golf universe if you're trying to get better.
Golf fan, not just, the average golfer, but the tour golfer. They all come to get fitted here.
Yeah, everything, tour golfers, we talk about dedicated golfers. You work at your game, you take lessons, you try to score lower. That's the kind of person that we design equipment for.